thinking she doing the murders with the boyfriend. The boyfriend is the one that's murdered. Hey y'all, hey. I go by Judy and we are back with another, pulling my hair, SW and True Crimes Reacts. Yeah. Y'all really miss y'all. I told y'all that in the other video I just did, but I really did miss y'all. How y'all been? Let me know. Let me know in the comments how you been. Really, sis. Let's just take some time and just connect. Life been lifing. It's been lifing for me too. Work been working. We making it though. We here. We got this. But yeah, check out my other channel if you want to see like a behind the scenes of what's really been going on. I do more vlogs and hauls on that channel, so make sure you check me out over there. Y'all, we getting closer and closer to 100. It feels like I literally just started this page. I just really want to shine light on just a lot of SW true crime cases because it's so much, but people don't want to cover it because, let's be real, because they're OF models or they're ladies of the night or etc. Ain't no shame in their game, so why are you ashamed to cover it, dude? But thank y'all so much for liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all for coming on the journey with me, and let's go. Okay, y'all, so we're watching the second season of Playboy Murders on A&E, I think. If you haven't checked out the first season, this is your time now. You know, to binge watch me. I'm a little funny sometimes. You know, we be cracking up. We be joking. So this is your time now to check me out over there. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, we're getting into season 2. We were supposed to watch another show or whatnot, but like I said, life was lifing. But now season 2 is here. Let's just do this, okay? And I am so ready because season 1 at the end was getting so good. I feel like we were getting to the nitty gritty. So I know season 2 is about to be good. Y'all know when I react, I get a little comical. You know, it can be a little sad sometimes. I get a little whimsical. Hell, I can get a little ratchet too. But it's my truth, okay? There's like 9 episodes in this season, so I'll curate that into a playlist. I'll probably just put the Playboy Murder reaction all together so you can just watch it all together. I also have some very interesting cases coming up. Hopefully I'll have some families tuning in as well to get, you know, a direct type of feel so you can know, you know, from the family's mouth who they were. So fingers crossed, and make sure you put that notification bell on so you can stay tuned, okay? Without further ado, get your snack, get your food, get your skincare, because we doing, ooh, let me pull up the foot stuff. I'm doing a foot mask, a face mask, a lip mask, and then we're gonna end it with the eye mask, and we're gonna hydrate. Not probably with this because I'm not going outside, but make sure y'all get y'all black girl sunscreen, period. Make sure you see it. Black girl sunscreen, yes, comes off real clear. Probably not gonna add that, but I also have my shea butter as a moisturizer, my witch hazel, and my Marie Badescu facial spray that I got last year for my birthday. My birthday's next week, y'all. Anyway, but yeah, we have all this face care. Get you a blunt if you have to, whatever, a drink, some wine, because you know how these true crime cases be, especially in the Playboy community. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do a little workout, take my wig off, look a little relaxed, and then we're gonna come back and react to season 2, episode 1, Playboy Murders. This episode is called Double Take. It is about the famous Bentley twins of the 90s. Let's get into it. Let's get comfy. We are back. As y'all see, I took off the wig. We got a deep condition treatment. Don't talk about the cup, but I'm doing a hot oil treatment as well. She's a little hot. And ignore my eyes after every wash day. You would think, I've been washing my hair for almost 26 years now. My eyes wouldn't be red by now, but we're getting there. Natural girls, we're getting there. So, also, don't talk about my ghetto bag. I don't have no more hair nets. Bear with me. Love me. But don't talk about me. Also, my man coming. And he was supposed to be here with food. But you know how men do. Probably interrupt. But let's get into this true crime episode. We are watching Double Trouble.
Thousands. Hef was dating multiple people at a time. He was getting a lot of attention for it, and his girlfriends were getting a lot of attention too. For Sandy Bentley, living at the mansion as one of Hef's girlfriends, you get to be the center of attention. But there's also restrictions too, and Sandy knew what the red line rules were.
Sandy was under contract. She was to be with Hugh Hefner, no one else.
It wasn't your typical run-of-the-mill, oh, I have a rich boyfriend thing. But it was very unusual.
He did not care about Hugh Hefner. He didn't care about what Hugh Hefner did, thought, or said. All he was focused on and obsessed with was Sandy Bentley.
Okay, y'all. So, it's giving right now that, like, Hugh was dating one of the twins. And she really ain't give a F. My girl was just young, wild, and free. She thought like it was just like a rich sugar daddy situation. But apparently her and her mans didn't see it as such. Let's see how it's going to vote. Okay, September 2nd, 2002, North Hollywood, California. Oh, they set something on fire. Thought it was shooting. Okay, it says police seek help in 02 double killing. Jesus. 4 years earlier.
In his 70s, he had just separated from his second wife, and he was looking to date again.
Did she say he was in his 70s?
He was going out to the hottest nightclubs in LA several times a week. That's where he first met the Bentley twins.
The Bentley twins are Sandy and Mandy.
They're beautiful.
They posed for Playboy. And then he started a relationship with them.
I wonder how is that to be in a relationship with someone but also your twin. Are you like in a relationship with your twin or just him?
And in the early 2000s, they ended up being celebrities.
Please welcome Hugh Hefner and his pals, the Bentley twins.
And his pals?
We're on 2.5 Men.
Oh, wow.
Sandy and Mandy grew up in Joliet, Illinois. They had a very strict Catholic upbringing, and they really weren't allowed to do many of the things that teenagers growing up were allowed to do. They weren't allowed to drink soda. They weren't allowed to have junk food. Most importantly,
but they say that's sometimes how extreme religions are. Like, they try to suck the fun out of everything. God.
Times was about her dad, that he was an alcoholic, and that this was part.
So get this. The men can be alcoholics and everything else, but the women can't drink soda and do other secular things. Interesting.
Of her life that she grew up with.
the twins attended a Catholic high school and then went on to the College of St. Francis. And from there, Sandy moved on to the University of Las Vegas.
She was very, very driven as far as getting her degree at UNLV because she wanted to work in the business arena. I dated Sandy Bentley.
Okay.
I'm a championship tennis player, so I... over several times during the match, and I thought, oh my God, she's taken my breath away.
Aww.
She was when people saw them, they craned their heads. The guys, they craned their heads to see the twins. So I said to Sandy, have you ever thought about modeling? You're statuesque and you're beautiful. And she told me that celebrities, sports stars, entertainers, those were her biggest interests.
The Garden of Eden was one of the biggest night spots at the time, and it was really the place that you wanted to be if you wanted to be seen.
All the celebrities, the beautiful people would go. It was really...
I don't like that. I don't like when people equate beauty to being a celebrity. Because usually ugly inside.
almost mythical.
Jeff used to go there, and that's where he first met the Bentley twins in 1998. Completely struck with their beauty. He really wanted to get to know them better. For somebody in their 70s, I would say Hef came across much younger. You don't see nightclubs, dancing.
I was just about to say, he do not give me 70. That's why I was like, 70? Like, are we looking at the same person? 70?
The very first party I went to at the Playboy Mansion was in August of 2000. It was a Midsummer Night's Dream party, and Hef was still dating the Bentley twins at the time, and I remember seeing them and just thinking they were the best looking women I'd ever seen. They were really tall, thin, gorgeous, had perfect hair, had the prettiest...
They were gorgeous. But I hate when people say they were tall, thin. Like, why do we give these attributes? Like, thin. Like, you could be a thick madame and be shut it down. But I digress. They were beautiful.
Costumes. I was just in awe. I thought they were so beautiful. To walk into your first mansion party, even though there's so many beautiful women, you definitely feel, you know, on display, the center of attention. Twins got to experience a taste of this completely different lifestyle than the one that they grew up with. They started to think, we could really get used to this. In 1998, both of them moved into the mansion and officially became Hef's girlfriends.
My relationship ended.
So, wow, they weren't even models. Hef met them at the club. Okay, Stevie.
What?
I send you back to the strip club.
You send yourself back to go pimping, bitch.
A young girl from Joliet is going to live at the Playboy Mansion with Hugh Hefner. I have no doubt that Sandy, as well as Mandy, made that decision instantly.
Sandy and Mandy were really young, 22 years old. Mandy was a little more reserved, and Sandy was more confident, assertive, businesslike. It was definitely a strange gimmick to be dating two twin sisters at the same time.
Yeah.
Height of the Howard Stern shock jock era, you had all these shows like The Man Show and things like that. And, you know, Hef's response to that was, look at me, I'm dating 3 women all at once. 2 of them are identical twins. And that got him a lot of publicity.
Of course.
My name is Stacey Burke, and I was one of Hugh Hefner's 7 girlfriends during the 2000 era. The Bentley twins were before the...
I think we've seen Stacey in the episode before. Welcome back, Stacey.
Girlfriend.
And I'm Brandy Roderick. Living at the mansion as one of Hef's girlfriends, you get to order whatever you want to eat at any time of the day. You're living on this gorgeous property. But there's also restrictions too. There's a curfew, you know, you're not supposed to date anybody else. You're not really being allowed to do your own thing necessarily. He wanted all of his girls to always be ready in full hair and makeup.
The Bentley twins got the $1,000 a week, plus when you go out for special events, he has an allowance for outfits because he knows you have to get dressed up, you have to have the shoes, you got to have the hair, you got to have makeup. Basically everything.
So this the episode we really found out the nitty gritty about Hugh Hefner.
Thing is taken on the cover in the May 2000 issue of Playboy.
Playmates are reserved for up-and-comers. Playboy wants to be, this is who we discovered. They're kind of like the debutante ball.
The tweets, they were wearing pajamas.
I think I have seen this pictorial. It is beautiful.
And it showed them like in the limo. It was supposed to give you kind of a feel for what would your night look like if you were dating these women. Like if you were Hef and you were dating these women.
Hef's girlfriend, basically, whatever Hef's schedule is your schedule. You're part of him. You're his shadow. You're his arm candy.
Even though Hef dates multiple women at once, all of his girlfriends were expected to be completely faithful to him. Not only was it a personal thing, but the concept of fidelity was really tied up into his public image as well. Viewers, there was definitely a streak of possessiveness. The other side of moving into the mansion is it's a world of other things you don't think about, like private investigators.
He used to hire PIs? He was nuts. Just had money and didn't know what to do with it, basically. Give it to somebody. Give it to people that really need it. How about that? Is my skin skinny or...
Sandy was driven like a magnet to men who had power. She absolutely was attracted to men with power. There's not even a question about it.
I think one of the worst things you can do in a relationship with Hef, from his standpoint, is be seen with another man.
Summer of 1999 in Las Vegas, Sandy Bentley met Mark Yagala.
Mark kind of men for sure.
Who?
Wazowski.
Okay, so she met Mark Mialaga. So in the summer of sometime in the 90s, she met Mark Mialaga. And right now we're recapping. So we're talking about the Bentley twins, Sandy and what's the other twin, y'all? What's the other one name? Okay, so just to give a little recap before, you know, we get into, you know, the mask, doing the facial, we are talking about the case of Sandy and Mandy Bentley. They were Hugh Hefner's girlfriend in the 90s. They had a bunch of like different appearances, and y'all know how Hugh is with his girlfriends. He has strict rules of what you can and cannot do. But apparently one of the twins was just a very free spirit, and she just really wanted to do what she wanted to do, period. So now we're getting to the point where she meets Mark Malagi. I don't know this man's name. I think that's what his name is. And they were saying how a lot of Playboy bunnies in the magazines, because he did eventually put them on a magazine. Like, they wanted to model and aspire to do that, but he saw them in a club and, you know, put them on a magazine because he just had a thing for twins. But they said a lot of, you know, professional men, rock stars or whatever, would look at the magazine and be like, I want her, like it's a freaking catalog or something. But anyway, this man did that. I guess he's some Wall Street guy. Let's figure out what he's about.
Mark Yagala was in the late 90s. Best description I could give of him is an absolute runaway train. Mark was and is brilliant, and their relationship took off like a house on fire. He flew her by helicopter to a Bentley dealership and bought her a milk and honey Bentley.
The American Express bill for 1 month, it was over $1 million. That's how much money he was spending on Sandy.
Mark was spending a lot more money on Sandy than Hef was.
The understanding was it had to be kept quiet.
Mark Yagala was buying Sandy a $1 million house. He was buying her all these jewels. It was a lot. It was very unusual. It wasn't your typical run-of-the-mill, oh, I have a rich boyfriend thing.
What Mark was focused on and obsessed with was Sandy Bentley.
I could have told you that.
Well in the...
Mama must have put it on him. You feel me?
Come on now. Put it on to make him wanna marry me. I put it on to make him wanna marry me. I put it on to make him...
One night out in Las Vegas at the Bellagio, they ran into a friend of Hef's, and his eyes almost popped out of his head when he looked down at this short, well-dressed man, Mark Yagala, arm in arm with Sandy.
Even after I moved in, I saw women get kicked out and not let back in the mansion. All their stuff was packed up and put out the back gate because they were caught out with another man. In the fall of 2000, Sandy and Mandy Bentley ended their relationship with Hef and moved out of the Playboy Mansion.
He was amassing this beautiful jewelry collection of necklaces and rings and earrings. She even had a replica of the necklace from the movie Pretty Woman that was worth $250,000. And
in October of 2000, that's when Mark ran out of money, and it all became, very clear. It was a slam dunk case, and so the cops arrested him in his yellow Corvette, and he was arraigned on federal securities fraud charges.
Mark Yagala is sentenced to more than 5 years in prison And he also has to pay $30 million back to his investors.
30 million?
To the surprise of no
30 million isn't small money. Where you gonna get that from if he in jail?
one, as soon as Mark gets arrested, Sandy drops him like a hot potato.
Goodbye.
After everything ended with Playboy and with Mark Yagala, Sandy started spending more time with a man named Michael Tradio.
Michael Tradio was 35 years old, was a father of 2, and was separated from his wife.
He raced motorcycles. He was part of the scene there in LA.
Oh, his face is eating, honey.
Michael Tradio recently moved to Los Angeles from New York, and he was working there as a part-time model, as well as being a doorman at the Garden of Eden Club, where he met Sandy Bentley. Nobody could point to this and say it was a transactional relationship.
Period.
Sandy is still living in Las Vegas, but Mark Yagala's been arrested. He's in a prison down in Florida, and Sandy's back with Michael Tradio.
They was gonna get her.
To recoup some of the money.
Not they about to get. This is messy.
Every single thing that Mark bought for Sandy Bentley was with OPM, other people's money.
Sandy didn't know that Mark was stealing this money to buy her things.
We settled with her. She agreed to give back all the ill-gotten gains. We went out to Vegas to retrieve these assets per an agreement with Sandy and her counsel.
Do an inventory of all the assets. They realized there is no way Sandy didn't abscond with at least some or all of this jewelry.
Through counsel, Sandy claimed that some of the jewelry that Yagala had given her was stolen well before Mark was arrested.
Is living her life in LA, and they cannot prove that Sandy has committed a crime, so the case goes cold.
I bet she felt like she got away. Alright, now we back in LA 2002. I ain't trying to be funny, but sis probably felt like she's Diddy. Because y'all know that's probably how he feeling. But he got them cases coming as I'm recording. They piling it up on his ass.
In 2002, the detective at LAPD reached out to me because he was dealing significantly with Sandy Bentley. That's when we first learned about the murders.
When I heard Playboy Playmate was involved in this, it didn't strike me as anything unusual at the time. I didn't learn until later how deep that involvement went.
She involved in murder. Oh my God. This is crazy. So now we went from her with Hugh. Now she got a new boyfriend. Hugh found out. Somebody called her, took a picture, showed Hugh. Snitched. Snitch kicked her. I said snitch. Hugh kicked her and her sister out. And that man that she was caught with was embezzled.
You lied to help you embezzle money.
Embezzle?
Yeah.
Embezzle?
Because you wanted me to...
Embezzle? Embezzle?
I was helping her.
He was embezzling some money. He got arrested. My girl, you know, was getting a lot of monetary like physical things, tangible things. So she was getting jewelry and stuff like that. It was OPM, other people's money. It wasn't his own.
You're broke. You're f***ing poor.
And he was spending it, $7 million on my girl. Now he's locked up. They trying to get the money back. Apparently she might be linked to some murders with her new man. I'm forgetting his name, but this is him. This is getting crazy. Let's continue.
This was a very layered case with many factors and many players in this investigation.
Dang.
A black Mercedes SUV in a well-to-do neighborhood was found completely engulfed in flames.
2 bodies in the passenger seat of this Mercedes SUV. Both victims had gunshot wounds to the back of the head.
Jesus.
The whole thing may have been set up by thugs because coroner's office determined that whoever the shooter was He was sitting in the back seat with the victims.
Ooh.
And then set the car on fire. The two victims are Chris Monson and Sandy Bentley's boyfriend, Michael Tradio.
I'm thinking she doing the murders with the boyfriend. The boyfriend is the one that's murdered.
Michael Tradio and Chris Monson were best friends. They raced motorcycles together. They were two well-off men in their 30s that seemed to be living respectable lives. They were close to their families. So the cops were trying to figure out who would want these guys dead.
Investigators go over to the Garden of Eden nightclub to ask questions.
This is crazy.
Sandy identified herself as Michael Tardio's girlfriend.
She had made 20-some calls to Michael that morning. But it wasn't until she ran into the homicide detectives at Garden of Eden that she found out about the Michael Tradio and Chris Monson being killed.
I never heard Hef say a word about it. If any investigator ever spoke to him about it, I don't know. This was 2 years after Sandy and Mandy had left the mansion. I just know that Hef would have wanted to keep himself and Playboy as far from the story as possible.
Sandy says that Michael told her, hey, if something happens, call this number. This is the guy, Michael Jacobs.
September 27th, 2002, we obtained Michael Jacobs' cell phone records. These cell phone records indicated that Michael Jacobs was in contact the night of the murder with Michael Tradio. We find Michael Jacobs at his residence and his girlfriend. And Michael Jacobs voluntarily went back to the station and was interviewed by detectives, while I stayed at his house along with other detectives and interviewed his girlfriend.
Michael Jacobs, he did say, oh yeah, I knew Michael Tradio and Chris Monson. I was with my girlfriend. So the murder occurs in North Hollywood, which is on the east side of the valley. Michael lives over in Woodland Hills, pinging off the tower that's right next to where the murder happened.
They be forgetting.
His answer to that, the telephone company's wrong. But the phone, Michael Jacobs, they had to release him, but they put surveillance on him. And then once again,
on September 23rd, we interviewed one of Michael Tardio's co-workers who said that in early 2001, Monson and Tradio had driven to Las Vegas and collected jewelry and furs worth approximately $500,000 from Sandra Bentley's house.
The dollar he'd given her was stolen. But once Tradio and Monson were found killed, that explanation no longer made sense.
At this point in the investigation, it became very clear that Sandra Bentley is not being forthright and honest with us. So we...
Now, Sandy, how the hell did you get in this? So right now we know that her boyfriend and his friend are now found dead by gunshot wound, and they apparently also lit the car on fire. They said whoever shot them from behind. Sandy appeared to the club where he worked at and was trying to act like she was looking for him. She was acting like she was looking for him. They get there. The detectives are like, well, who are you? She's like, well, I'm his girlfriend. I'm Sandy. And they're like, well, hi, how you doing, Sandy? Well, it's nice for you to give this information, but can you give us a little bit more? She goes on to say, like, yeah, she did. She just recently talked to them. And, they get down to the bottom of it. They find out, ping the phones. Now, they did go to Vegas to get the jewelry and stuff that she was claimed that was stolen. And now they dead. So apparently Sandy ain't being so forthcoming with information. What are you hiding, Sandy? Let's find out. 2003, LA, a year since the homicide of Michael Tradio and Chris Monson.
Before she left Las Vegas, Sandra Bentley had given testimony to the SEC that she didn't know anything about the jewelry. And now it's becoming clear that that jewelry was in fact in possession of Michael Tradio and Christopher Monson.
Sat down and talked to her. We knew that she was holding back.
It must have been really jarring to go from living at the mansion for 2 years where you're very, controlled and sheltered to living the high life with Mark Yagala. And then the next thing you know, you're in the middle of this big case and maybe you don't have the resources or the people to talk to. And all of a sudden, you feel like you're in big trouble and don't know what to do next. The federal agents came and searched the twins' houses, which must have been absolutely terrifying.
It became clear that Mandy, after that, Sandy told us the whole story.
In her confession, Sandy admits to the police that she and Michael Tradio did steal the jewels from her old residence. But she says this all spawned because of the financial hardship that she was facing in the wake of the end of her relationship with Playboy and with Mark Yagala back in 2001.
She calls me crying one night from Las Vegas, saying, I have to leave. They're kicking me out in the morning. I will have nothing.
They come up with the idea to steal some of those jewels and furs.
Michael and Chris drive to Las Vegas. Chris stays in the car. Michael jumps the fence in the back, goes inside the house. He sees the jewelry that Sandy has there. Furs that were made for her. Her name is embroidered on the inside of the coats. They took that. They took some Louis Vuitton bag. He and Michael put all the stuff in the car. They drive back to LA.
Thought they were going to pretty quickly be able to sell that jewelry. But the idea of let's sell this stolen jewelry is a dangerous game.
After a year, Sandy and Michael were still holding on to the jewelry.
Michael had been going to the Garden of Eden and looking for somebody to potentially buy these jewels or put them in contact with somebody who can help.
So he was going to work, trying to work for his boo. Like, don't tell me that she ended up getting him killed. Like, she didn't get him killed, but like, it was somebody who was doing a deal or something. Like,
through these conversations, Michael Jacobs
got a buyer. I can set you up with a buyer.
Set him
Sandy
up.
told Detective Cox that this person was somebody that was only going by the name of Mr. Big.
We wanted someone that he knew could cover his back in case something happened. So Chris, just being the good friend he is, said he would go with him. Sandy says on that day, Michael had gone out to get a money counter. That's how naive he was. He thinks he's going to collect, I don't know, maybe $250,000. And Mr. Big is going to give him $250,000 cash. He even took counterfeit markers to check the bills. He had all, but doesn't know anything about it. But the girl had seen it. She recognized it as the same appraisal that Michael Tradio had brought in just a month before. Now Michael's dead. Who is this guy that's coming in a month after Michael with the same appraisal slip?
Be a very smart criminal is all I'm gonna say. And I got like 3 more minutes on this, and then like 5 more minutes on the mask. But like, couldn't be a smart criminal, Mr. Big. There's 2 bodies. Like, there's 2 bodies. Be for real. You think they just go?
Jacobs, he was just saw Mr. Big's car come. He just says adios to Tradio and Monson, and he leaves.
Set up.
So many loose ends, police are now forced to put together the last moments of Chris Monson and Michael Tradio as best as they can.
I personally think that whenever Michael and Chris are driving up through the hills and they last have contact with Sandy, shortly after that, they made a stop. And this is where they think they're going to make the deal. They let somebody in the back seat who they think is going to pay them the money or look at the goods or whatever it is. And that's not what happens. No idea who Mr. Big is still to this day. Even Michael Jacobs says, I don't know who Mr. Big is. And Sandy didn't know. It's a cold case.
A cold case? Justice for them. Justice for them boys. They was just naive. Rich white boys just didn't know. Had the jewels and everything. No weapon. Just a money counter and a money pen.
Case has never been solved. You would.
And high hopes. My face is getting tight. Wow. Well, this was, as y'all see, my mask is drying, so we got like 2 more minutes, but let's wrap this up. Okay, y'all, so we just did the double take case, well, the double take episode, which was episode 1, season 2 of Playboy Murders. This case was about the Bentley twins in the 90s. Though they didn't have really, they had a connection with the murder, it really wasn't because of them. It kind of was. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Justice for Michael and Chris. Just to give a little synopsis, basically, like we said before, she was running from the IRS because her boyfriend was, you know, in jail. So she was running from them. She needed to give up her jewelry and stuff like that. But she came up with a bright plan with her boyfriend that they should just steal the stuff, you know, so they can have money to, you know, pocket for, you know, expenses of life, because, you know, she had nowhere else to go, and he was working at the club, so they just needed money. So he came up with a plan. He got his best friend involved. They stole the stuff, and they were just sitting on the stuff for about a year. They didn't know who to give it to. The jewelry stores and stuff, they basically weren't taking the merchandise because they felt like it was stolen, and the story they gave them, it just won't add up to them. So they was like, we're not taking merchandise. So he's decided to take the grunge approach and try to sell it by foot, knowing that he's not really street smart, knowing that he wasn't really street savvy. So he calls his best friend Chris to come with him. He ends up meeting this other guy, Michael, from the club, that said that he can get all his stuff sold. So the guy, Michael, puts Michael on to a Mr. Big. They meet the Mr. Big, and unfortunately Mr. Big kills him and Chris in cold blood and then sets the car on fire. They have yet to find out who Mr. Big is to this day, honestly. So the case remains a cold case. I'm unsure where, you know, she is with the IRS stuff, but they said they're laying low. I don't blame them. Lay low, because y'all done went through where that is. So they're reopening that so they can get justice for Michael and Chris, and I pray they do, because people are crazy. Yes, they came in the situation unprepared, but it won't no reason for you to kill them in cold blood. Also, let's talk about Hugh Hefner and his girlfriend rules, sir. And it gives me Jonah Hill tried to do the same thing. Y'all remember that? Sick of men and these rules. But thank y'all so much for sticking around. I had to take that mask off, because I was like, I'm not about to do this intro with the mask on. It's looking a little crazy. Scary to me. But anyway, thank y'all so much for sticking around and, you know, relaxing, watching, reacting to another episode of Playboy Murders. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I post it next. Go ahead and comment what series do you want me to do next. Let me know your thoughts about this case, because this case was crazy, y'all. So I already know season 2 is about to get nuts. Yeah. All right. Let me moisturize, get out of y'all hair. I'm gonna do this eye mask before I go to bed. Super excited. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Until next time, stay safe, y'all. Bye.